Hello, Kris here, Green Sabre, Doom Telly Time, episode 101 for those of you that need that converting. More Doom Telly, more robbed ideas off of the tinterwebs, the YouTubes, the vinyl community, the YouTube vinyl community that is having a turbulent time at the moment. I'm not going to get into it, but hey, let's all stop this fighting and just learn to get on and live and love one another. So anyway, fucking shut up whining all here. So that's my 10 penneth on it. Right, video time. Updates, GODTHRYMM. If as planned you're watching this on Friday the 17th of October when it releases, GODTHRYMM are doing a gig tomorrow night, Saturday the 18th of October, Greyston Unity, Halifax. Support comes from Sabre, Wolf, Top Bananas, great bunch of lads and blasts. Yeah, Greyston Unity, get yourself there. Yeah, we're going to be debuting 2 brand new songs that are going to be on the forthcoming album, Projections, that will be available early next year. I'm not entirely sure when. Let's say February, March-ish, 2026, something around that neck of the woods, via Profound Law Records. It's going to be terrific. I can't wait for you to hear it. And if you get yourself to Halifax tomorrow night, to the Greyston Unity, you'll get to hear 2 of these new bangers in their debut live performance. So get yourself there. Green Sabre, like I say, we've pretty much provisionally got booked recording for the new stuff. It's going to be 4 tracks. I'm not going to divulge which tracks they are, but they're going to be 2 new, 2 old. Or I say new and I say old. But anyway, 4 tracks. We're going to be going into recording the drums of those and various other bits early next year as well, early 2026. So yeah, we'll be getting them over the line. CROWSBLOOD, yeah, working away. We've got new material, got another new song, pardon me, virtually in the bank. In between whiles, we have I'm not confirming anything yet, we'll just wait to dot the I's, cross the T's, but we have someone willing to release the debut album. So as soon as I've got a few more details fleshed out on that one, I can let you know. But CROWSBLOOD's debut album, Golgotha, it is provisionally titled at, will be in your ear pipes. Again, the way it stands at the moment, we're trying to tie up various bits and pieces, artwork and photos and details and all that kind of gubbins. That's probably going to be landing early-ish 2026 as well. It's unlikely we'll get it out before the end of the year, quite honestly. There's a few bits and pieces to tie up. There will be physical as well, so watch this space. But yeah, that is the all-encompassing CROWSBLOOD announcement. So yeah, as soon as I've got more finer details, I will let you know. But yeah, a legend in the scene is willing to put this out for us. So that's all I'll say at the moment. So watch this space. Yeah, right. The video. What video am I doing? I've kind of stolen this idea off something. I'm almost sure the Beast, Sean, shout out Sean, I'd done a little video on this, or maybe I dreamt it, I don't know. But I know for certain that Alters of Madness, Matt, great channel. You will all know about it, but if you don't, go and check it out, Alters of Madness. It's an Ace channel. He did a hot takes video, and he gave me a roundabout idea about doing my own hot takes on these things. So I've got 5 hot takes. Now, before you get excited, one thing that the Beast and Matt over at Alters of Madness are much better at doing than I am is giving you unheard of stuff. You know, I watch their videos and often end up going out and investigating stuff because it's stuff that I've never heard of before that they pull out. What you get from my channel is boring, generic nonsense. I tend not to reinvent the wheel, and because, as I've mentioned on numerous videos, I have a very small collection that I can't add enormously to. So my physical media has to be worthy of going in. I don't have the time nor the resources to go out and add infinite, I'll try that out, I'll try that out, I'll try that out. So what you tend to get from my videos is fairly fucking generic. They're all stuff that you'll have seen and heard of. But anyway, enough of my excuses. So I've got 5 hot takes for you. And this week's video, there will be a follow-on video as well. This week's video is 5 hot takes of albums that are considered stinkers that I think are great. So 5 albums that are considered stinkers by most people that I think are marvellous. And the follow-on video to this will be 5 albums that are universally plaudits that I think are stinkers. So yeah, watch out for that video next week or week after. Let's see how it goes. So anyway, my 5 hot takes on albums that are universally panned, derided, that I think are fucking ace. And here we go, coming in at my number 5. I've got all physical media apart from my number 1. And my number 1, before I go on, was very much inspired by the Altars of Madness video, because he had a comment on this particular album that I don't, not in a fighty way like the rest of you YouTube community, but I just disagree with, and I'm going to justify that on this one. So, but that's the beauty of these hot takes, isn't it? Anyway, my number 5 is this. Megadeth's So Far, So Good, So What. This is often panned, is this album, by a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about, ultimately. Some of my favourite Megadeth tracks are on this album, and this is not without fault, I agree. The cover of Anarchy in the UK is avoidable and probably shouldn't be on the album, and does kind of, it's one of them where I can live with it now, but it always used to be the track that got skipped. But if you take away that fairly awful cover, which, let's be honest about Megadeth as well, they have a history of doing fairly awful covers on their albums, so it's not out of place in their discography. But if you take that cover off of this album, every other track on here is an absolute banger, 10 of 10 banger. And I will not be argued with on that one. It has one of the greatest opening tracks of all time, and the balls to open an album with an instrumental, quite honestly. Into the Lungs of Hell, absolutely fucking stellar. It is 3.5 minutes or whatever it is of absolute monstrous riffage and class, and I won't be told otherwise. What a way to open. Then Wallop into Set the World Afire, another absolute monster. Then you get more of that sort of classic Megadeth. I always feel like Set the World Afire could easily have been a hangover from Peace Sells, the album that came before this. It could have easily... It feels like The Connector, the song that they wrote maybe first off of this, I could be wrong. Then you get the cover version. Then Mary Jane, one of their finest songs of all time for me, closes out side A. Side B, 502, monster of a track. Side C, possibly my favourite Megadeth song of all time, In My Darkest Hour. Then Liar, Hook in Mouth are a 1-2 punch combo of excellence to finish this album off. People that talk ill of this record are fucking simpletons, ultimately. And that's not just my opinion. That's scientific fact. But I will not have a bad word said about this. Yeah, the production's weird. I have a weird soft spot for elements of the remaster of this as well. Now, most of the remasters that he did of the original, the classic 3, Peace Sells, Rust, and this, are fucking garbage. Peace Sells is a good remaster, though, I would argue, upon listening back. Rust in Peace certainly is not. And this really isn't for the most part. There's unnecessary trumpets that were mixed out of it. And yet the initial washy, weird, compressed mix of this album is what put a lot of people off. And the fact that it's arguably the weakest drummer that Megadeth have ever had in their career. But don't let that stand in the way of what is a fucking straight up 9.9 out of 10 album. And fuck you if you think otherwise. So yeah, my number 5 hot take. Albums that people don't like that I love. Megadeth's So Far, So Good, So What. They were at the peak of their fucking smack addiction as well. And get back on smack, lads, if that's what you produce. Anyway, right, enough of that poppycock. Right, number 4. This. Again, you'll be thinking, Megadeth, Metallica. What is this? The A to B of metal. Look, just... stop your whining, or imaginary whining that I might have just made up. Anyway, this album. We all know why this album gets fucking tanked. But hear me out here. I don't care about the lack of bass on this record. Yes, I have personal reasons for loving this album, because it was my entry-level record. This was the current album when I got into Metallica. So it will always hold a place in my heart. But some of the songs on here are absolutely monstrously good. And get past the fucking production. Yeah, if you're a bass player, I appreciate it's difficult to get past the production on this album. Fair enough. But the razor fucking guitar tone on here, and just the proggy nature. There was a school of thought, and I think even Metallica have come out and sort of said, we forgot how to write songs. Nonsense. The songs on here are mental in places. The proggy nature of some of them and how they just drift off, and like, oh, the rhythm section behind the solos in places, like Shortest Straw I'm thinking of, like Blackened, Frayed Ends of Sanity. Some of those rhythm pieces that are going on behind the solo sections are fucking worthy of the praise a solo gets, quite frankly. They are stunning. The instrumental, the track To Live Is To Die, is absolutely, hands down, top 3 Metallica song of all time for me. Maybe top 5. But anyway, yeah, it's in that top end. It is fucking magnificent. And also you get... There's the lack of bass, for me, is a nod to Cliff Burton as well. And there's a cold, angry, depressive nature to this album. And that's all because of the circumstances that led into the writing of it and what it became. There's a very harrowing vibe to it compared to any other Metallica record, I would say. It's almost a doom record in essence, with only really To Live Is To Die being the only kind of what you would consider to be a doom track on it. Maybe Harvester would be another one. But yeah, it's bleak and it's cold, and for that, I fucking love this record. I don't care about the lack of bass. I don't care that the production's this or that the production's that. This was the last great album that Metallica have done, and worthy to be held up right up there with any of those first 4 or 3 or whatever you want to say. But yeah, my number 4 albums that people think deride that I think are ace: Metallica's And Justice for All. Okay, number 3, I'm waffling as per fucking usual. Number 3, this, Mastodon. Now, I've singled this one out, but pretty much anything after Leviathan gets derided by a lot of people, because they very much enjoyed that early, more fucking punch to the face riffage of Mastodon, compared to the proggy nature that came in. The proggy nature very much came in on elements of Leviathan. It was there, it was coming. Blood Mountain really switched it up, and then Crack the Sky went to a whole other dimension. Crack the Sky being my favourite album comfortably by this band, but I love everything they've done, quite frankly. And this got a lot of unfair flack for reasons absolutely unknown. I have done a video previously on this one, basically saying, what the fuck is your problem with this record? It's an absolute masterpiece, and in light of the tragic loss of Brent Hines, he started coming into his own around this period of Mastodon, and only got better and better and better for me. Anyone that was like, were his solos not just a bit messy? That you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They were incredible and unrivaled and sounded like no one else. And this album has just got, again, loads of proggy nature in spades. There's some great doomy elements to it as well. I mean, the closing track on this, is it Diamond in the Witch House? Yes. Is an absolute fucking monster and one of Mastodon's finest hours for me. But there are loads of fine hours on here. The track Halloween's fucking ace. Ember City. Just tons. There's loads. And yeah, I will not take the fucking stick that this album gets. It's an absolute fucking masterpiece. If you don't like the proggy Mastodon, then try again. But if that's not your thing, then fair enough. But don't just write it off for reasons that, for me, mean that you didn't really listen to the record properly. So yeah, my number 3 of great albums that get an unfair press: Mastodon's Once More Around the Sun. My number 2 is a band that very much divide opinion, but it's this. You'll be looking at this thinking, oh, it is Death Heaven. Black metal, black gaze, black whatever you want to call them. Pioneers. America's, California's, San Francisco's, I want to say. Death Heaven. And this is not their latest album, the one previous, Infinite Granite. This divided a lot of opinion. Now, there's a lot of people that refuse to accept Death Heaven as a black metal band anyway, and they're your kind of elitist fucking black metal gatekeepers, usually speaking, that have a problem with the purity of black metal being somewhat diluted by adding other elements to it. I think that's fucking bullshit. I think they had a really, really great atmospheric, depressive and contemporary edge to black metal. Is it traditional? No, it's not traditional, but who the fuck cares? it's really, I love what Death Heaven do. I just think they're really, really good at it. But this album divided opinion because they very much moved away from the black metal thing in almost its entirety. There are only a couple of moments on this album where the screamy bits come in. And really, the only bit that I would say is more anywhere close to traditional black metal is the final sort of 4-minute section of the very last song on this album. The rest of it is very much an indie, shoegazy, atmospheric kind of melodic vibe. And even Death Heaven fans, it turned off a lot of them. Not me, though. I thought it was fucking wonderful. And I still go back to this record. I think they've mastered what they were trying to do on this with the latest one. Which its name's Ordinary People with Power, is it called, or whatever it is? Lonely People with Power. Anyway, whatever it's called. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing them at Damnation as well. But I think this is great. I saw them on this tour as well, and they did like 3 or 4 of the more melodic tunes off of it. And yeah, I think it's fucking ace. Try harder. I mean, I say try harder because I had to get over a bit of a hump with this. I hate the Stone Roses, for example. I still hate the Stone Roses, apart from maybe 2 or 3 songs that I think are acceptable. But there's so much Stone Roses vibe in this that I really like. And I still confuse myself. It's like, why do I like it on here, but I don't like the Stone Roses? I think it's the fucking attitude that you get with the Stone Roses that I don't like. But anyway, so that's my number 2. My number 1, and pretty much the reason for doing this whole fucking nonsensical video, is albums that get unnecessary flack that I believe are fucking stellar. And I don't have a physical of this because the physical is notoriously fucking difficult to get hold of. And I'm including the CD of that, of which I have neither. I have no physical of this. Image inserted. It is Dissection's final album, Reign Chaos. Now, Dissection were a band that polarised a few people anyway. If you can look past the person that Jon Nordved was for a kick-off, then fair enough. I can. I have no issues with his somewhat sketchy past. A phenomenal guitarist and a phenomenal songwriter. And I love all Dissection records. The Somberlane is and was my favourite of theirs for years. Storm of the Lightsbane is fucking magnificent. It is a magnificent record. This one might be my favourite currently, Reign Chaos. Now, hear me out. Now, a lot of people switched off, and I was really interested, and I can absolutely understand why people come to this opinion with Reign Chaos. But like Altars of Madness. Now, he didn't say that he hated the album. He said he felt it was a really bad Dissection album. And I can understand that argument because it is so far removed sound-wise from the Somberlane and Storm of the Lightsbane that it's almost a different band. But you have to remember the context of everything that went in between Storm of the Lightsbane and Reign Chaos. And the reason that I love it is pretty simple. A, the songs are stellar. For any of you out there that love the At the Gates album, that's name has fucking escaped me, for Slaughter of the Soul, that love that and love that era of At the Gates, but don't love this, I don't understand that, because this for me was Dissection's melodic death metal album. And I love the fact that Dissection's back catalogue is very, very different. The Somberlane was very much a straight up death metal album with blackened elements to it. There was a definite blackened leaning to what was straight up fast-paced death metal. Really melodic at times though as well. And then Storm of the Lightsbane is probably the most black metal album that they've done, but still melodic, and has arguably one of their more melodic songs on there, where Dead Angels Lie, you know. So yeah, there's always been that melodic element of it. What he did on Reign Chaos was bring in a more straight-up melodic death metal approach. Essentially, the black metal leanings all got binned on Reign Chaos. And I don't have a problem with that, because I think almost every song on Reign Chaos stands up as a absolutely stellar bit of... I was trying to work out my favourite 10 Dissection songs, and I picked 5 off of Reign Chaos. So I clearly love that record, and I will defend it vehemently for a number of reasons. I love the tunes on there. I mean, Beyond the Horizon. I mean, you've got that Nexius 218 or whatever it's called that starts it. Really good little instrumental intro piece straight into Beyond the Horizon. That is an absolute masterpiece of a tune. A masterpiece. The melody, the riffs. It's just hard hitting and it's fucking ace. Then you've got Starless Eons. That's another melodic fucking masterpiece. After that, you've got a little bit of uppy downy, but I really do love. Now, let me. Is it called? I think he pronounces it Kepper E Set, or something along them lines, whatever it is. But that's a fucking magnificent tune. The title track, Rain Chaos, magnificent tune. The ending track, Mahakali, is my favourite Dissection song of all time. Very closely followed by the title track off the Sunderland. Yeah, that is just magnificent, and it's the story behind you know the thought, the focus. Now, regardless of what you think about John Nordved, and yeah, he does polarize opinion because he was a murderer at the end of the day. But I mean, you can't disagree that he didn't believe in that, and regardless of where you sit on that whole thing, he was very much committed to his way of life, if you will, and the story, the focus of the lyrics on Rain Chaos, and the way that it builds to that ending before he eventually fucking did himself in, was just the whole. I find it fascinating. I find the story of that album fascinating. I find the story of him fascinating, and it all pours out in that record. I've waffled on enough about that because I was hoping to do this in under 20 minutes, but famous last words as per usual. But yeah, my number one album of my hot take of an album that gets really bad press often and is absolutely fucking elite tier is Dissection's Rain Chaos, and I will fight anyone that disagrees with me. Right, enough. Like I say, I promise that there is going to be a yin and yang of this video. The next one that I do will be 5 albums that are universally lauded that I think stink. So look forward to that one. I've only managed to get a list of 3 so far, but I'll find another 2, don't you worry. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you later.